if you wanted to know about Dr. Raymont, this is a shortened bio, right? So there's a lot to know about our guest speaker today. I'll give you the short list. A lifelong learner, formally educated in illustration and graphic design, American Sign Language, interpreting theology, pedagogy. Also educated as a mystic, a metaphysician, and a magus. Martial artist, since he was 15 teaching. Visual artist, specializing in drawing and painting, dabbling in photography, sculpture, an actor, ASL performing artist, Reiki master, teacher, holistic life coach, father of 5, grandfather of 2, and author of 2 books, as well, some more on the way, ordained minister, ordained interfaith minister, soon to be licensed practitioner in CSL, and serving as a member of the core council of CSL DC. And we welcome him to speak today.
Thank you. So how is everybody today?
Great.
Awesome.
So, have you ever watched a reality TV show? You don't have to confess. Or have you ever wondered why they're so popular?
Yes.
So one reason, because I've asked myself this because it's the era of reality television. And I came to this conclusion that we want to know, as best we can, these famous people. So we feel that by watching the ins and outs through reality television, it makes me feel like I know Oprah. It makes me feel like I know the Kardashians. It makes me feel like I know them. Not me personally, I'm talking as if I'm someone else, because I don't watch it. But it gives us the impression that we know these people. And then, a question for you. Have you ever wondered or asked yourself, do I want to know God, or do I want to know about God? Because there's a big difference. Knowing about is, well, Oprah was born this date. Knowing Oprah is, hey, oh, what you doing today? There's a big difference. Many of us go through our lives studying and reading and meditating and doing stuff to know about God. But the challenge is taking it from knowing about to knowing personally. Now, big challenge is, well, how do you get to know God? One of the biggest ways to get to know God that we often deny and don't pay attention to is get to know ourselves. Because if we are the thing itself, we are source, we are God, we are love, then the more we truly know who we are, the more we truly know what it is. Any Wayne Dyer fans? Remember when Wayne Dyer used to say, you have an apple pie. If you take a slice out of the apple pie, the slice is no less apple pie than the whole of the pie. Now, this slice is not all of the pie, but this slice is all apple pie. If we are individualized manifestations of Source, then we are no less than it. We are completely whole and holy Source. But how often do we go throughout our days thinking and focusing our human self, living from our human persona, focusing on ego, especially when we watch the news or the presidential debates? It's real easy to fall down the rabbit hole of what in it is so easy to forget who and what we really are. Which is why our spiritual practice is extremely important. Because through our spiritual practice, we are always brought back to remembering. Now think about what remembering really is. Remembering. Reacquainting ourselves with the knowing that I am a member of the entire body of God. And as God in human form, as the I am, walking and talking and being breathed, one of the main tools that we have access to for the theme of the month is the power of our mind. In Unity, they say our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Because I remember way back when I was a fundamental Christian, and there's the passage in the Bible where it says, pray without ceasing. And I thought, how in the world? So I'm trying to eat, but I'm supposed to. And remember praying, I'm like washing, and how do you pray without ceasing? It's because every single thought is a prayer. Because the mind that we use, we already know is the mind of God. It's not like there's this mind and that mind and your mind and my mind. And ultimately, there's only one mind. Which is why we know that when a treatment is done, it's the mind of God speaking it, praying it, into the receptivity of the law, into the mind of God. So when I'm thinking this, that, or the other that's negative, am I not, in essence, praying or treating for this thing to show up? Now, the key thing is, licensed practitioners are those who are trained, professional, to know and speak the truth. All of us are practitioners, though. And see, I think that's the thing that a lot of us, we forget, that just because you don't have that license, just because you haven't taken the class, doesn't mean that your mind, your power, your words are any less powerful. So I want to share something that Uncle Ernest said, because we know him. So, preface with, so I was reading one of his books, earlier book, that really wasn't written as to be a book. It was a series of lectures that he did, and someone took all the notes and formulated this book, and it's called Love and Law. And he says some stuff in that book that made me break into a sweat. So, one of the things he says, be definite in your mind. Get the consciousness and speak it. As your inner consciousness corresponds to the form of the external word, it will be. The moment we formulate in consciousness what this thing is, the form of it, and we speak into existence this form that we want to see, experience, be, do, have, it will show up. But how many of us, we say things like, this happens when I'm coaching people. I'll say, so what would you like? And oftentimes people will say, more money. Here's a quarter. That was easy. Now what do you want? And they're like, no, not like a quarter. I mean like, more money. Here's $1. It's a lot more than a quarter. And they're like, no, like, and they have no dollar amount. Why do you not, you say you want more money, but you don't have in your mind the concept of what that means, what that looks like. If any of us wanted to have our dream house built and went to an architectural designer and said, I want to build this house. Okay, tell me what it looks like. Well, I'm not sure. That's why I'm here talking to you. What can they build? Now, they can build something based upon their vision, but then they're going to come to you and say, so how does this look? And you're like, no, I don't like that. Okay, so what do you want? I don't know. Back to the drawing board. This could go on forever. In order for us to know, to live the life we truly want to know or live, we have to form it in our mind. We have to know it. Not just think it, not just believe it. We have to know it. And there's a big leap between believing and knowing. Because I have friends who believe in Bigfoot. And I'm going to leave them out of it for right now. There's a big difference between believing in something and knowing something. I don't know if I told you this when I was here before. Had surgery on my knee. Busted my ACL. It snapped. Like, I stepped this way and it bent that way, snapped. And I go to the doctor, and the doctor says, so you're going to get surgery and this and that, but your range of mobility is going to be limited. There's a lot of things you're not going to be able to do. Same thing they said about this finger. It had a tumor in it, and you're not going to be able to make a fist ever again. Gotcha. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. And I know that you are a physician, and I know that you are skilled, but I do not believe you. Because I know that there's this power that says, I don't have to succumb to what you and the medical profession say. So I can say, gotcha, tell me what your medical professional opinion is. Okay, now, through the power of my mind saying, okay, listen to me. You're connected to this, which is connected to my, listen, you're going to do what I say. So when I say bend, you bend. And you got to do better than that, because I need to be able to make a fist, because I do martial arts. I need to be able to make an A. I need to be able to do stuff so I can sign in a video a couple of years from now. I need you to be able to do stuff. So through the power of my mind, the body can be healed. Through the power of mind, careers can be formed. Through the power of mind, what's not possible? In the grand scheme of things, there are things in mind that we don't even know exist. See, that's why there's a difference between visualization, or doing a vision board, and visioning. To do a vision board or to visualize, you have to already have an idea of what it is. You know, you cut the magazine picture, I got this picture for this house, this is my house, and you put it up there. Visioning is saying, I know that my right and perfect house exists, and I open myself to it. I don't need to know what it looks like today, because I trust that by putting it out there, it will show up. Because there is no later. There is no tomorrow. There's only now. So the moment we say, which is why we say at the end of a treatment, and so it is. It is so, and so it is. Not, and so it will be one day. Because the moment we put in mind that it has to be later, it's always putting it off till later. There is no later. So when we formulate in our mind, here, right now is the only time I have. What do I want to be now? And think it. What do I want to have now? And think it. What do I want to do now? And think it. Because in a single moment, we can change our mind that quick. Because I've asked people, suppose you're walking down the street and DC, you're in the DC metro system, and someone walks past and they've got this real bulky book bag, and they walk past and they hit you with the book bag and keep on stepping. What do you feel? I'm angry. Why? Because they were disrespectful and they hit me with the bag and okay. Suppose you had the opportunity to confront them. What do you say? I can't believe how rude you were. And they go off. And I say, now let's pause and rewind. And you just found out that this person, their parents just died. Are you still angry at them? Well, no. You changed your mind that quick. Why? Because you know something now that you didn't know before. But we can always, regardless, have an open heart of compassion saying, I don't know why this person did what they did, said what they said, but I'm going to still be compassionate toward them nonetheless. Big challenge that I've been giving people recently with the presidential debates. Watch them as an exercise to train ourselves to hold a higher consciousness for them. Rather than watching them saying, oh my goodness, I'm moving to Canada if. Rather than holding that in consciousness, because think about it, if you say it, you thought it. And if you thought it, you've planted a seed that makes it a potential. Is that really what you want to plant? I really don't want to eat poison, but I'm going to plant the seeds for it anyway. I'm going to nurture it and grow it. I don't plan on eating it because it's poison, but I'm going to plant it nonetheless. I'm going to make a tea out of it nonetheless. I'll put it on the table nonetheless. Well, sooner or later, You go reach for the coffee, grab the poisonous tea, and sip it. And be like, oh, I can't believe I just drank that. Well, you planted it, you nurtured it, you grew it, you clipped it, you made tea out of it. It's no wonder that really? So the challenge is, the training is, I don't like you. You're teaching me something about me. You're teaching me that in this moment of not liking you, because if I say that God is all there is, then it's you too. You are acting as if you don't know it, so let me know it for you. Let me hold in consciousness that you are no different than, that we are all of the same apple pie, that we are all of the same source. So let me pray, hold in consciousness for the highest good of all concerned. Because that's the power of our mind. In any moment, we can change and transform this entire planet. Several years ago, there was a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? Anybody heard of it?
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. It's very quantum, science-y stuff. And there's a part in there where this gentleman, Dr. Hagelin, talks about a study using meditation that was done in the DC area where they proposed that if enough people meditate, we could lower the crime rate in DC during the summer. And they proposed this to the commissioner of police and the FBI, and they all said, you're crazy. Listen here, listen. Washington, D.C., in the summer, you think you're going to do what? Lower the crime rate by? The only thing that would do that is a snowfall of at least 3 feet. 7 of y'all sitting around going, Om Shanti is not going to do it. It's not going to happen. And they said, watch us. So they went away and they meditated. And during the time period, it dropped the exact amount of time, the exact percentage between this time and this time that they anticipated. If a handful of people can meditate and lower a crime rate for the summer months, then can enough people meditate and remove crime, period? Can enough people meditate, treat and pray, and remove homelessness? To the point where the only homeless people are going to be the gypsies who say, home, I don't want a home, I love nature. They're going to be the only ones who don't want a home. Hunger, poverty. Is it possible that it could end? Because it's very easy for us to watch the news, read a newspaper, go down the street and see the homeless people and feel this is a problem that cannot be solved. How many times have war strategists and military people said, it's not possible for war to end? Is it not possible because you believe it's not possible? Long time ago, a gentleman by the name of Les Brown said, anybody know who Les Brown is? Motivational speaker. Told a story about how he came to realize the power of mind. And when his mother was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, he told the doctor, don't tell her. Everything that needs to be told. Now tell her to exercise, tell her to take her vitamins, tell her to take her medicine, but whatever, you tell me. And then I will communicate it to her. Because he didn't want her to hear what the doctor, because the doctor was going to say, well, I'm sorry, but you only have, I don't want her to know that. So the doctor agreed. His mother lived well beyond what the doctor prognosed that she would. Why? Because she believed that she would live a long and healthy life. There's a story told in a book called Think and Grow Rich by, it's not the version by Napoleon Hill, but a version by Dennis Kimbrough, where he tells a story of a gentleman who got locked inside a refrigerator trailer, a refrigerator boxcar. He's on a construction site and he's doing work and he goes to put some stuff away and the door slams shut. He's there the entire weekend. The workers come back Monday morning and they his truck is here, and they eventually open the car and find him in there. Cause of death, He froze to death. The boxcar was not connected, though. How do you freeze to death in a car that's not cold? He so believed that his cause of death was going to be by freezing that his body responded in like manner. If we can kill ourselves with a thought, can we heal ourselves with a thought? Dr. Joe Dispenza has a book called The Placebo Effect, where he talks about specifically this thing through the power of our thoughts. Placebo, nocebo. Nocebo is the exact opposite. It is thinking yourself ill. Placebo, thinking, believing, knowing yourself well. Knowing yourself prosperous. Knowing yourself loved. Knowing yourself. Last month, February, what was the theme of the month? In terms of, like today we're talking about the power of the mind, what was the theme? Awakening to your magnificence. And I asked people back last month, and I said, if I were to ask you, how many of you are magnificent? And they would raise their hand, and people raised their hand, like, yes, magnificent. And I said, no, you're not. None of us are magnificent. But we are magnificence personified. And if you are magnificence personified, it's just like me saying, God is not loving. God is love itself. And if God is love itself, then everything that it does has to be loving. It's just like if I had a red crayon. Whatever I draw with this red crayon is going to be what color? Red. What could I possibly write or draw that's going to come out as blue? Nothing. Why? Because the crayon itself is red. Therefore, everything that comes from it is going to be red. If God is love itself, then everything that comes from it is love. It can be nothing else. If God is magnificence itself, then everything that comes from it has to be that same thing. Well, are we not what it is? So if it is love, then what are we? If it is magnificence, then what are we? So what we do is magnificent. Now we can make a magnificent mess, or we can make a magnificent masterpiece. Either way, it's magnificence being expressed. But why? Because the power of our mind demands it to be so. When we wake up, what do we think? It's the first thought in our mind. Because that is a seed planting into our day. If the first thought is, oh God, it's Monday. Is it any wonder that we dread Monday? Why would we even dread Monday? Because the concept in our mind says Monday is the first day of the work week and I don't like my job. I don't like my supervisor. All of these are thoughts that we hold. Is it no wonder that we continue to not like, argue and struggle and strain against this stuff? Is it no wonder? A gentleman by the name of Earl Nightingale says, your world is a living expression of how you are using and have used your mind. Sounds like something I heard someone say, doesn't it? Your world is a living expression. Your world, meaning your life experience, is a living expression of how you have and how you are using your mind. If you don't like what you have, change your mind. If you don't like what you see, change your mind. Because through the power of our mind, we change it. So we don't have to think, well, how do I end world hunger? By removing the concept of world hunger from your mind. Because for as long as you believe it is an entity, a thing called world hunger, you keep it alive. There's a story, young Native American child goes to his grandfather and says, Grandfather, which of these two wolves will win if they get into a battle? The good wolf or the bad wolf? And the grandfather says very simply, whichever wolf you feed. So you feed the wolf that says there is no such thing as that. Because, once again, remember I said love and law made me break into a sweat? One of the things that Dr. Holmes says is, if we truly want to be whole and well and healthy, then the entire concept of sickness needs to be removed from our consciousness. So when we watch the news and they say something about, we are warning you now that there's an outbreak of the flu, and what do we immediately start to feel? Oh my goodness, I hope I don't get it. We'll stand next to somebody and they'll go, and we're like, I hope you don't. We start to panic because we believe that it's possible. Instead of saying, oh, they just coughed, or they just sneezed, and treat for them. Treat knowing that they are well. Treat knowing that not only that they are well, but that I'm well. I can't catch this thing because I don't even know what the thing is. It's not possible for me to catch it because there's nothing to catch. You know, we say that, this is funny. We say catch a cold, right? But how many of us weren't? Ray, what are you doing? Trying to catch a cold. Oh man, got away. Maybe later. I'll catch it later. Who does that? None of us. Now it looks silly watching that, but we say it. We say it, and we reference it with kids. We'll say things like, keeping up with the kids, or gotta catch my kids, because they're running around, gotta catch them, gotta catch a cold, we say it. So on some level in our consciousness, there's this idea of, I got it, I caught it. It has nothing to do with it. Because these things that we call germs, these things that we call whatever, are they not also made out of God's stuff? So why would we use God's stuff to create ungods? The moment we sit down, this is why spiritual practice is so important. And I know that when the invitation was open for anybody want prayer or treatment for anything, it is very important to say, right now I don't really have anything specific to, but there's always something I want treatment for. Even if it's more of the good stuff. It's, wow, today is a beautiful day. I want more beauty in my life. Wow, today is, I feel good. I want more of, feel good. I want more of that. I haven't seen windmill cookies in about 30 years. I want to know where windmill cookies came from because I want more of it. And that's serious, because I haven't seen windmill cookies. I sat back on the table. I haven't seen them for about 30 years. They still exist. I digress. It is very important for us to be mindful and realize that if you are the thing itself, if you are God in expression, you are the I am, then everything that you could ever want to be or do or have is closer than our breathing, closer than our very thinking. Because the moment you think it, because it's not you thinking it, it's source as you expressing through you. So if it is already thinking it, it's already done. In a seed, the entire, not just a tree, exists in a single seed. An entire orchard of forever exists in this one seed. Because I plant the seed and from it a tree. And from that tree, how many apples could grow? An endless amount of apples. And from every apple, another apple seed. I could have apples and apple orchards and trees and applesauce for all of eternity from one single seed. From one thought. We have the entirety of all infinity in our thinking. So we have to get very mindful, very firm. What do I want to experience in my life? And think it and make it so. Let's ground this, prepare ourselves for treatment, so that these words can truly take root. As we settle our minds and our bodies and allow and surrender ourselves to be breathed, knowing that it is not us who are breathing, but the divine nature of the universe breathing us. Knowing that there are parts of our body that we aren't even mindfully aware of, kidneys and livers and appendix and heart, and we don't beat our heart, it beats because there is a divine power that we can trust. The chairs upon which we sit, we trust, knowing that the chair will support us, knowing that the floor beneath the chair will support us, knowing that the foundation of the building beneath the floor, beneath the chair will support us. In every moment, we know that there is the possibility to trust. To trust the one mind, to trust Source, knowing that God is all there is. There is nowhere that God is not. Therefore, God is right here where I am. And this truth that I know for myself, I know it for each and every one of us as well. God is here. And knowing that God is here, I also know that every thought that I think and every thought that we think, we are thinking with the mind of God. So in this moment, I speak with the authority of Source, knowing that health and well-being is ours. I know that prosperity and abundance is ours. I know that power beyond what we can even imagine exists right here and right now. No dream is too small. No goal is too small. No goal is too large. No dream is too large. Because whatever we set our mind upon is what we create. So we expand our consciousness to create amazing lives. In this moment of being breathed, I am grateful. Grateful to know that the power of my mind creates the living experience of my life. Grateful to know that the power of our minds create the living experience that we have on this planet. And I know that peace for the entire planet is. I know that joy for the entire planet is. Love is. Health and well-being is. Unity is. And wholeness is. It is the truth of God, therefore it is the truth of me, therefore it is the truth